today we'll work on some stuff from full guard, guys. Sounds pretty easy. Whenever I first started, I really just loved sitting in full guard. However, I would give you my back to get out of somebody's full guard, like literally. Like I hate being in full guard. There's so many reasons why. Whenever I sit there and think about some of the things that I end up usually attempting or doing to people, it's no wonder why I hate being in someone's full guard. And so for me, like I'm usually running, my hands to let them get a triangle so I can do a pass or something like that, because I just really hate being someone's self. And so I figure we'll show some stuff from other full guard, especially in the gi. So number one thing in full guard, whenever we are here, especially in gi, it's super easy. The first thing we always got to do is make sure we break their posture. And gi, it's super easy because we have this lapel that we can grab onto. We're not sitting here fighting for collar ties and then it's slipping off because of sweat or because he's juked his head or something like that. We have something that we can roll up into our fist and literally grab a hold to. I can sit there and then cross grip and run it to the tack and really motorcycle grip in and keep them nice and locked here. You got to do this. So the first point of full guard is always to break their posture. As we break their posture, I can move my feet up a little bit and continue to press him into me. So that way his goal is to get nice vertical posture so that way he can start opening my legs and passing. But whenever we're down here, his elbows are compressed on both sides. I am starting to influence his breathing because I'm keeping my thighs nice and tight. We've got a good lock back here. So for him to sit here and initially corkscrew back and turn into where he can start opening these legs is immediately difficult. He's going to have to expend some energy. Meanwhile, gravity's working with me. I'm laying on the mat. He's going to be working against gravity, fighting upward as well. So I can sit here and chill for a second while I'm making him break a sweat, thinking about how he's going to get out of this. So as we use a posture breaking technique, something similar to this in gi, to influence his posture, we typically know the reaction that he's going to do, which is what he just did, is start to sit up and fight. He's using his back a whole lot. All of his back muscles are literally locked in, trying to get him vertical again. And we can use that to our advantage because he's not primarily focused on his legs, he's focused on his back. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to break this posture. As he sits up, we're just going to scissor sweep. And so a scissor sweep just looks like this. For me, I can do it one-handed, I can do it no-handed. Everybody's going to be different on this. So the first thing we're going to do is whenever we know we're going to break down this posture, we got to find that same side hand. And so if I'm on this side of his collar, I'm going to grab that same side hand. Once I have control of them, I can usually bring it into here, away from the mat, because if it's on the mat, it can get in my way. However, if it's on my body, it's not going to get in my way. And on top of that, I'm on the outside of the hand. Whenever I grab that grip, I'm grabbing on the top of the hand. So whenever I come in and break this posture, his first reaction is he's going to sit up. I'm going to let him sit up, and I'm going to open my legs. As soon as he sits up, if I'm going that way, so if I'm going to my left, my right foot has to shrimp out. As he sits up, I'm going to shrimp out and set both feet in. So if he, bring your hand all the way up. So as you can see, my bottom leg here will slide down to the knee in just a second. My top leg has come in here. From this posture breaking, I use that and keep this nice tight tension grip here to shrimp out and slide in with that all that space that he gave me once he opened. On this move, I'm going to do two things. This knee's going to slide in and this knee's going to slide down. And whenever I'm ready, all I'm going to do is just scissor my legs. The leg that's on his belt is going to go that way and this leg is going to go that way. Keep my grips and come straight up on top. We're here. I lock out my elbow and I punch that through the mat. That's a hard collar grip. He cannot initially get up from that. Depending on how I grip this, I can do some, fanciness and switch my grip from where I had it at the top of the hand to the bottom of the hand and do that. Most people in this transition aren't going to do that. They're going to keep this grip. You can punch it down here and then you can go to your head. You can pin it down with a forearm, whatever. You can trap it behind a knee. So there are plenty of things to do whenever you have this grip. Don't be panicked if it's like this. Nice and slow, he can't get it back for half a second. Use something to trap it, and then adjust. Now you can come back up. Very simple. So again, posture breaking, baiting that posture break into a scissor sweep. And so again, I'm gonna find my cross grip. I typically like going to scissor sweeps on the left-hand side. Bring him in, find this hand, grab the top of the hand. As he comes up, I have now used that, him pulling to give me a little bit of space, shrimp off the right hand if I'm going towards the left. And so whenever this right foot goes onto the belt line, my left foot drops to the mat. And then my right and my left foot just go in the opposite direction. Punching the whole way through, all the way down in the collar. Again, if I have the top of this grip on the hand here, that's fine. I can reach down with my head, let go, adjust my grip, come back on top. If I have the top of the grip, again, I can come through, adjust, come back. I can come through, adjust, come back. There's plenty of ways to re-grip this, because this will initially feel uncomfortable or weird to you doing it like this, and you feel like that he can get his hand back at any moment. So it's one of those things, don't panic about this. Punch it, adjust. He will not get his hand back here, especially if you have a C grip. Go for it. We can start down here. We don't have to immediately be up here. We can start down here and pull our way up. Posture break. I pulled my knees in on this posture break. My knees go into his armpits, and I've rolled him to me. As we roll, if I have this side, I'm gonna go that way, so I gotta get the same side hand. Posture break, grab his hand. As he goes to reposture, I've shrimp and scissor. Lock out the collar, keeping it punched to the mat. If this is uncomfortable in this grip, punch it to the mat for a second, pin something heavier on it, and then get a better grip on top. So that way now we're here. Any questions, please let me know.
Can I add a little detail to that? This helped me a lot with the scissor sweep when I first started out. I was trying hard to muscle people over, but I learned that once I broke my legs and I grabbed a hold of this cuff and I get set up for the scissor sweep, instead of just trying to use my legs and flip them over, the detail I learned from Chewy and from some other guys, when you get their weight off of their haunches, like you see how like he's sitting back, he's kind of stable. You get him over like this, and when you go to do the maneuver and scissor sweep, they say check the time. Like, see my wrist, I'm like checking the time. I'm checking the time, and I'm pulling this elbow out of my way, because this elbow's kind of in my way right now. See my own elbow? When I check the time, it's like I'm stretching and doing a maneuver just short.
You're just loading.
Yeah,
and
keeping him off his
hips a little bit.
You pulling him off his hips, and you get your elbow out the way. So he's kind of off balance. He's over his weight is over his hips, past his hips.
So we hit that posture break. You guys reposture. We're here. I like that. But again, once we're on top, we're keeping this collar locked out. If we need to adjust from the top of the hand, we put something heavier on it. And readjust to now we're on top instead of on the bottom between his hand and the mat. Any questions, please let us know. 1, 2, 3. Get it. Thank you, sir.
First, there's just something Chewy said.
Absolutely.
And he said it recently, so it's still fresh in the head.
Absolutely. I feel like you have ears in your I feel like you're gonna get your feet exposed. Can you just come off a hurt finger or something? Questions, let us know, please.
Right.
Hmm? No. Incorrect. So if I have the left side, yeah, you just don't need to lift your weight off. So the bottom of this one, that high, way from the side.
Yeah, you're the one that
Again, now when we contact that hand, we're not going, we're letting go of the grip, keeping pressure.
Oh, so he's just saying.
This left one, if you want to get to this, it's hard. Oh, higher up on it? Oh. Because you're hard. Arm's gonna go back. Now that
Yeah, one more if you want it. So, don't fall on me. So, if I immediately open and then I realize I can't rock him up or I can't load him up to sweep him for the scissor sweep and I bail, the only thing I got to worry about on bailing is that my big toe that's flared out on his hip over there doesn't pass inside. If he grabs that foot and pushes it just an inch inside, he's passed, and now he's almost inside control if I don't do something about it. He pushes that down and he hops with his leg. I'm already gone. This is bad. So, if we get that scissor sweep and it fails, as long as my big toe is still flared out on the outside of his hip, I can use these and pull myself back in. And now we're safe again. So if you have to bail on that, just know he's going to stay strong here. I can pull back in and get close. So once we're back in full guard here, number one, full guards are always going to tell the top person to never have your hands on the mat. And so if he's doing this, this is an obvious mistake for him. So yes, we're going to be nice and tight. You can expect that his elbows are going to be anywhere immediately inside or outside of your hips. So for me, the next thing that I like to do if I'm in full guard is influence him to somehow extend this. And if I'm in gi, I really love doing this. Usually they're going to start, once we have this posture breaking ritual that we're going to go through, he's going to start trying to fight his way down my body to start breaking guard. And so whenever we're doing this fight, I like to get a 2-on-1 on one hand and shoot it out to the other side. Completely diagonal of where I am. And I can now grab his armpit on the other side. And in the gi, I don't have to worry about slipping because I can actually grab material over here. I have his back. And so now we're glued and I'm chest forward so that way he can't get this arm back. I still have a grip on this hand. So this hand we're gripped and now we're offset. He's not in my midline anymore. This is fantastic for me. I can now let go of my guard and just do a shrimp. while keeping the grips. I have kept the armpit and kept the hand grip. We can do a couple of things here. The bottom foot can adjust a little bit, and I can come and post out on my elbow and start to circle and pressure into him. Or I can sweep him from here. And so again, he's starting this game. I can focus 2-on-1, up and out. The top hand comes off, the bottom hand stays gripped because the top hand has to come over and grab the armpit. Once I have grabbed the material in the armpit, I can now shrimp out, put my heel into his hip, and I'm pushing on his hip on this side. I can then post up on this arm while keeping the grip, and I can now circle this knee out and start pressuring in. So yeah, we'll work on that one next. Again, other side, he's pressuring up, 2-on-1 grip, shoot off to the other side and keep the grip. Free hand can now grab the armpit material. I can shrimp out. My bottom foot is going to be, my heel of my foot is in his hip. So that way I have a little stability. I can now get my elbow under me and start circling. My bottom foot can now come out while keeping both grips. I can now shoulder in heavy. And start back takes. I can bulldoze him over and take side control. Plenty of options from there. 2-on-1. Grab and shoot diagonal, keeping the bottom hand grip. Top grip immediately goes to his armpit, and I hug. Nice and tight. Unlock my guard, my bottom foot, shrimp out, and I come to his hip with my heel. I can now get my bottom elbow under me, and I can now clear this bottom foot. While keeping nice and tight, both grips, keeping nice and tight, and I'm pulling myself into him, chest heavy. And again, once I get nice and square like a plus sign or perpendicular, I can bulldoze into him. I can let go of the armpit, I can go to the foot, and I can bring him to me. Either way you want to do, or I can take back. One more time. 2-on-1, shoot the hand, keep the grip. Other side in his armpit. I shrimp out. My bottom foot goes into his hip. My bottom heel, goes into his hip. This bottom grip starts to get an elbow base. Now I can circle out, keeping both grips, and heavy into him. And again, whether I want to bulldoze him over, whether I want to switch the armpit to the foot, and start scooping this foot and turning him into me, or if I want to hop onto back. Any questions, please let me know. 1, 2, 3. I'm going to step out to my right foot shut. So my right knee goes through his belt line, like I'm doing back to the side control, back to half guard. Right knee goes to the belt line, keeping my foot on this over here. And then now
Trying to get away a little bit.
that armpit material, bring your chest in heavy. I can switch the armpit to the foot, to the outside foot, and I can pull him into me. Yep, pull him directly into me. You can grab his material, pull straight into me. Even not you rolling, you don't have to. If you want to do side control, you're not going to roll, but you can take it back. Start circling again. I can bulldoze her over, straight through. You can come up in the side control from here. Let me clean my bottom foot real quick, get it on the movements. Now I can bulldozer over. I can switch the armpit to the far leg. You can pull it into me. Or I can hop on back right in the middle of that upper line. Right? Yeah, oh, I do that practice. Oh, right, yeah. Yeah, no, so it's really just really grabbing two on that side, and we're going over here. Yeah. Yep. Some people go for take back, some people take side controls. If I'm in a tournament, I'm with side controls. I get my 2 points because I might have an amazing mount of offense. And so I get my 2 points of side control. I go to mount. Now I have 5 points, 6 points. Yeah. Whereas if I go to back, I get 4. So if I know how to get to a good mount position, immediately all inside this goal.
I'm just gonna let this part of my body go. This part of my body.
Versus 4.
That's why.
We point farm. We put farm.
So when you grasp the foot, you're saying just to go back.
I will grab
The whole time, my chin is providing a luster to his arms.
especially the last year I always wear jackets. Yeah, so. Because once I start moving that arm around and that transition crap happens. And last one, we'll do a quick arm bar. Marty, come here.
Kyle's feeling bad.
And so we'll work a quick arm bar. And so using that same foot and the hip movement, guys, it's one of those things that it can provide you a lot of action. And that's why I really dig getting my heel dug into their hip in some fashion. Because I can either extend myself away if they're trying to attack, I can then lace, I can start threats of submissions based on that space that I got from the heel. And so anytime that you're in full guard and these other things aren't working, always remember I can let go, and if I'm flexible enough, I just put a foot in his heel as he's posturing, or a heel in his hip as he's posturing up. And that way we can make space here and we can start to really control his hips. And so we'll just work quick arm bar. And so depending on which arm you want to attack, we're typically going to attempt to grab top side cuff. And with the other hand, I'm then going to come in and grab the opposite, the top side of the same side arm, and we'll grab that tricep. So there's a couple of different ways to do this. I can usually just get here immediately. Just depends on your lower back mobility. But once we're here, the first thing we need to do is, again, we're grabbing above the elbow on the tricep. The same side that we grab the elbow on the tricep, we put the foot in the heel, or the heel in the hip, so that way he cannot back his arm out. His arm is now buffered by my leg. So he's not going to immediately get that arm back. Once I have the hip and the heel and the hip, I can't say that for some reason. Once I have the heel and the hip and I have protected his arm and we're keeping this tricep grip, this other foot can now go into the armpit, bringing his posture down. And so as we did that, I'm flexing my whole shin, calf downward to influence his back. And so again, whenever we have this foot here, it's going to go into his armpit, and he has now been brought down lower on me. We still have this tricep. I'm going to keep the tricep grip. My top hand that was controlling the wrist can now go to his face and push his face away as I bring my foot over his face. Now we're here in this position. I can now just inflex my hips and get a tap. And so again, I can grab top side cuff. That's the arm I'm going to go after. So same side, top side cuff. Opposite hand's going to reach up and grab that same side tricep. So we're here. Go ahead and grab, if I got 2 on 1 on this arm, same side heel has to go in the hip. Now he can't get his arm back immediately. Once we're here, I can now take this foot and go into the armpit. And I want my knee to be at least perpendicular in a straight line with his shoulders. So that way I'm influencing his back. If my knee is dipped down like this, I don't have much power here. I don't even have to look at him and I can see his shift in movement. And so from here, I can do a couple of things with my grips. I can switch this cuff grip to the other hand so I can shave. I can continue the tricep grip. But as long as we're keeping control and one hand stays on this arm after we've trapped it with the leg, we can never let go of this arm again. So I can switch. Free hand now shaves. Pulling. Heavy pulling on this arm. I can lock my legs if I want. I don't have to lock if I don't want to. We're just going to hip up and get the tap. We can also take our head knee and start leaning into the mat and get the roll. And then now we're in top side arm bar. One more time. Opposite side, same side, top side cuff. Reach up and grab the tricep. If you can, quick trip, turn on your lower back and get the arm bar. If not, same side, top side cuff, tricep, bringing that arm in. I like to bring it in past my ribs so that way my knee is on his torso and he has no space to get this arm back. Top side tricep, heel into the hip, he's not getting that arm back. Opposite foot goes into the armpit, knees in line with the shoulder. I can switch my grip on my hand, shave his face, arm bar, I can lean into him, keeping the grip nice and tight. And as we turn, it goes from pulling this way to pulling this way. So as we turn and come on the top, I gotta now pull up so he can't get his elbow back. His elbow now wants to go down. And so real quick, come back up. we hit that turn. So I'm pulling this way right now, but as we turn, I just have to keep tension because now I'm pulling this way. So be cognizant of that. And then we can again finish that armbar from here. Any questions, please let me know. 1, 2, 3. Last one, get some rolls in, guys. Give these 1 or 2 so we can get a couple good rolls in. Same side, top side, up. Right here, this hand can come to the tricep. Bring his elbow in, perhaps, yes. So this foot's going to go in the hip, this heel's going to go in the hip. Other knee's going to go on top of the armpit and back. If I get a lot of my knee on there, that's better. And so once we're there, I can now, you're fine, because I can take this hand and press against his face. Yep, so that way I can sweep my arm around. Now, hips in. And so now go back. Go back.
Again?
Go ahead and do it. And then we'll do the heel hip. Now take his knee in, hold it to the ground.
You gotta shrink up that.
Yes, now we pull up. And see, first you're pulling this way. On the roll, you gotta adjust your pulling. And so listen, now this is a normal outside arm bar.
It's just all in the hips after that.
Like shoves, all in the hips.
Don't forget the crimp.
Heel's gonna go on the hip. Other foot's gonna go on the armpit. I want my knee to be in line with it. I want to be. And you try that. Yes. Now, this hand, either hand, whichever you feel more comfortable with, needs to press on his face. Press him towards the direction of his leg. This leg comes across his face. Beautiful. Keeping this pull. His elbow gets below your crotch. His elbow has to sit above your crotch. The head hits in.
I'm gonna do it, and then I'll have him watch me do it.
Down, hips and stuff. You're playing the freeze. Now, take this knee and heel to the ground. Keep the pulling knee. Now you pull this way. Once he moves, you're going to pull that. Now you're pulling forward. Now pull backwards. Hips to the side. Tribune? Oh yeah, that's your balance. I'm sorry. Now take that knee around.
That's about, you know.
So this is, you can either keep the cuff grip to start off with you, or go elbow pit to elbow pit, because again, at the end of the day, his elbow has to be above the crotch line to go with the arm.
Let me try the way. Oh, sorry, you're gonna say
I was gonna say, are you gonna paint over that?
this, and then skip.
Just go with the left leg over his face.
Do I need to go around?
I don't need to, I just spin on my left. I put the right foot into his hip, and then I throw the left leg over his face. Boom. Here's my arm bar. Skip all the bullshit. That's full punch. Let me get to the business. Right here. Straighten my right foot out. Straighten my right foot out. Now left foot. Now we can circle around. Left knee goes to the ground. And then now we can, depending on his defense, we start placing our right foot through the window so we can set up our triangle upside arm. Absolutely. I'd rather do it in one move myself. Any questions about that, guys? Get you on your back, right? Questions about that? Y'all good? Left foot hip, right foot in the armpit. Heavy armpit. Shake his face. Left foot front his hip. Grip. himself. That feeds himself.
You can see, that's where it's too late now. I have to finish it right here.
So good, but I'm saying, so obviously it's that way.
Here, you need to push pointing that way.
Okay, so like pointing that way.
Yeah, it goes the opposite. My leg is
Trying to get my elbow past the ground.
Yeah, because what I'm doing to finish is hit the.
Any questions about that, guys?
No, sir.
So I can give you a couple of things that I like to do as a smaller guy to help try to control those bigger guys or the stronger guys. Especially if I can have a grip that is not a sweaty, slimy, slippery grip. Being able to take two hands on one in a bottom guard position and throw them over my head so I can get my head to the back of their armpit. Getting both arms to the back of that armpit, or at least one over the back of that armpit, so I can reach across that back. That's big stuff. Once I'm behind it and I can see the back of his shoulder blades back here, I can take his back up. And all it is one movement. They're working a great guard, you shoot, you go. It's super quick and it works really, really well. Scissor sweep works really, really well, as we all know. Just a fundamental thing that I like to always keep, fresh in our memory, because all these pros will tell you, all that fancy shit you see on TV goes back to fundamentals. Fundamentals are key. And so try and work those things in, especially in gi. Smaller guys and women, I promise you, it works. It works for me. Get together.